I'm so excited and honored to introduce to you our keynote speaker, Brian Zorman. Brian is the Director of Innovation at Hike2. In his role, he drives our culture of innovation and directs Lightning Labs. Lightning Labs is our in-house lab. We're really proud of it here at Hike2. Brian has nearly 20 years of experience, and it was with Brian's leadership that Hike2 was recently named a Tech 50 finalist for Innovator of the Year Startup Company. Congratulations to Brian and the entire Hike2 team for this amazing accomplishment. With that, I'm pleased to turn over the mic to Brian to begin today's keynote.
I'm really excited to be here this morning. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the keynote of the Innovation Summit. Today, I'll be talking about refining the innovation process for consistency and scale. But before we get started, and for those I have not had the chance to meet, I'm Brian Zorman, the Director of Innovation and Solutions at Hike2. I'm a software engineer by background, but these days I don't get to write much code anymore. Instead, I spend much of my time working with the great people at Hike2, growing and managing the innovation program. This includes executing and improving the innovation framework we use internally, as well as ensuring we bring innovation to all our client engagements. In addition to that, I have the pleasure of spending my remaining time with our diverse clients, shaping, designing, and architecting solutions for the Salesforce platform. But enough about me. Let's get started. So why do we need process? How many of us have had an idea about a product or improvement to something, only to have seen that same idea alive and real, developed by someone else, whether that was through a quick Google search or even at some point in the future, finding it on a store shelf or in an advertisement or an Amazon product recommendation. Either way, you shouldn't be discouraged, but just the opposite. You should be encouraged that you had this idea, even though others have had it also, and feel validated that your ideas could turn into something. Oftentimes, though, in a professional setting, ideas are seen as a barrier to innovation, with the focus being, if only we could come up with a great idea. I don't, however, see ideas as barriers. People are creative beings by nature. Ideas happen all the time. I've seen it myself every day, whether it's watching a young child at play, creating and imagining, or working with adults in a workshop setting with a pile of sticky notes and a whiteboard. Those great ideas happen consistently and without fail. However, a great idea does not result in a great product or solution. Ideas on their own are inert and static. By themselves, ideas don't succeed or fail. They're dormant, waiting for a catalyst. Ideas need execution to become something, and it's how we execute that determines if they succeed or fail. The innovation process describes the path for executing, for taking ideas and turning them into tangible products or solutions. Whether you're working at a startup, building a new innovation program, or trying to improve an existing innovation program, you don't want to let great ideas fall through due to poor execution. So having a clear and pragmatic and usable process to go from idea to solution promotes consistent execution and also lays the groundwork for scale. Now let's walk through the process. At a high level, the innovation process will manage your idea funnel. The process aligns with your organization's innovation goals to create a clear framework that structures and systematically improves and implements the development of really anything from products to services to business models or accelerators or improvements. This process may look sequential as a diagram, but in practice, it would be iterative. By combining a linear process with agile methods, we allow the flexibility to avoid counterproductive consequences of a rigid process on things like creativity and time to market. To simplify the discussion, this process is broken up into subsections. I refer to them as idea to build and then build to value. Let's start with idea to build. Idea is the entry point. Many channels can exist to engage your team based on organizational culture. We want to gather and collect ideas and generally crowdsource ideas from the team. In evaluate, we validate completeness of ideas and determine their viability. We compare and prioritize. In addition, evaluation will be revisited iteratively throughout the later stages so that we are constantly ensuring we're giving attention to the most valuable ideas. The concept stage involves a measurement of the time investment. We want to prove the idea is technically feasible and allow for a more accurate build estimate. And we want to understand the technical skill set required of the development team. This will help refine the investment needed. Now moving forward into build to value, the prioritized concepts themselves progress into build. This is where tangible solutions come together. It includes a more traditional project management and iterative build lifecycle. In beta, we want to allow early adopters to see and feel the solution and provide feedback so that we can focus on features that are the most valuable to customers. And finally, release. We're live, it's time to celebrate, but also lead into a product management process that involves support, enhancements, bug fixes, and future releases. Next, we'll dive deeper and focus on each of these stages and talk in detail about their characteristics, who should be involved, what actions should be taken, and how to execute. For the idea stage, you want to focus on crowdsourcing innovation and prioritizing engagement of your team members. Idea submission should be fun. It should be rewarding and transparent. You want to be inclusive and celebrate the diversity of your team in both thought and experience. Ideas themselves do not have to be focused on new products to take to market. They can also include improvements to existing processes. Sometimes ideas can come in as complaint submissions. A complaint seen through the right lens is just an opportunity to innovate or improve. Now, who should be included in this stage? Really, it's your people at all levels, your team, your employees, your leadership. You want to include your high-value customers, if possible. If you also have the opportunity, you could include a community of those that know and support your brand. The important action during this stage is idea intake. We want to provide a mechanism to capture ideas and their details. This should cover the most important attributes of the idea. In order to improve engagement and scale, participants should be able to view and search other ideas in order to avoid redundancy. They should be able to follow ideas that they like, comment, and collaborate on ideas. We want to provide a place where people can refine, encourage, challenge, debate, provide new perspectives, and celebrate. The technology used for idea submission can be as simple as email or a Slack or Teams group, depending on your organization's maturity level or size. It could be an innovation portal that allows employees, customers, and the community to collaborate all together and submit ideas. If you want to focus your innovation on certain themes, then you can use innovation challenges. This will be essentially a contest with a time box. As an example, Salesforce has just released a new feature called Functions that lets developers write code in Java or JavaScript and integrates with data and events on the Salesforce platform, and allows you to execute that code on demand in a serverless environment with elastic scale. It's a very impressive feature, and it's potentially game-changing for the platform. Now, an innovation challenge around this could be something like, over the next 4 weeks, submit your ideas on how to use Salesforce functions to solve common customer problems, or to provide an improved solution over one that's already existing. Coming out of idea, we'll move into evaluate. But before we get there, let's focus more on scale. When your idea generation is high volume, now this could be the result of your organization's size or due to a recent contest or group workshop or event. You'll need a consistent process to help you prioritize ideas to evaluate. I want to emphasize that ideas are not filtered out here. This is just for prioritizing your ideas over time. It's important that we make sure that we're always evaluating all ideas. A 2x2 matrix exercise will allow you to compare the idea backlog items and prioritize. The key for this exercise is to appropriately choose the axis that fits your innovation program and your organization goals. For an organization like Hike 2, we have interest in ideas that can provide the most value the fastest. This would put time to market on the y-axis balanced against customer value on the x. Our sweet spot will be the bottom right quadrant, where time to market is low and customer value is high. Other axis options to consider could be investment, novelty, company fit, commercial potential, or disruption. Not only will this exercise give you the most promising ideas to push forward, but it will also provide insight into other ideas in the backlog. When complete, be sure to always communicate the results back to your team. You want full transparency into the process and the decisions that are made. This gives the team the opportunity to refine their ideas if desired, or for future consideration. Evaluate. Evaluate's an idea filtering mechanism and a stage gate in the overall innovation process. The goal is to choose the ideas to invest for upcoming conceptual refinement and potentially development. In order to be evaluated, an idea must first be complete. It must include detail on what it is, just as important as why it is valuable. The people involved should be the executive sponsor, strategic leaders, innovation program manager, idea submitters and supporters, and maybe the potential product owner as well. The evaluation exercise can take the form of a Shark Tank-like event, or even just a simple meeting or webinar. This would vary greatly depending on the right culture fit for your organization. The evaluation will consist of presentation, data, and logic-based defense, questioning, debating, and selling. The result is an approval, or what I like to call not yet. Not yet is key. It leaves ideas open for changing market conditions, advances in technology, or changes in organizational strategy, or even improvements to the presentation and value proposition. Ideas should be revisited periodically and reevaluated. Now, how do we evaluate? The important characteristics to cover are the strategic fit. How well do they fit with the organization's strategy, corporate initiatives, and goals? What is the wow factor? Is it disruptive in nature? Is it memorable? What is the likelihood to resonate within the community and gather support? You also want to explore the value of the idea. How does the idea create value for the customer? What's the value proposition? What gap is it filling? What pain is it alleviating? How does the idea deliver value? How are we ensuring customer satisfaction? How does the idea capture value? Is there an understood path to monetizing the idea for your organization? After an idea is evaluated and approved to move forward, it enters the concept stage. If you hold 1 second, I'm just going to get the lights in the room. I'll find them. Hopefully that's better. In the concept stage, we're going to develop the proof of concept and the prototype. This will demonstrate the intentions for the idea so that we can ensure viability. And it will bring up the high-level model of the idea and bring it to life. Sometimes in practice, a proof of concept and prototype are used interchangeably, but I see a clear difference between the two. The proof of concept focuses on, can it be built? And testing assumptions. And it provides a theoretical demonstration that the concept is achievable. Whereas the prototype focuses on just building a sampling of the idea to show how it would operate. Oftentimes we need both, a proof of concept and a prototype, to provide the right context. Now, in addition to the development work, we want to expand the what and the why introduced in the evaluate stage to get into deeper detail. For example, further defining the MVP features. We also want to determine at a high level how this would be built. What is the technical solution, the technical design, and how much investment would it require? This includes both an estimate and a team skill set identification. This exercise will uncover critical attributes like complexity and risk. The contributors here would be typically a skeleton build team of a product owner, a subject matter expert, designers, and developers. The effort in the concept stage would be a time-boxed activity. We want to ensure predictable investment. It would most often use the technology framework to match the build, or it could use a rapid prototyping platform. It could include wireframes as a click-through experience. But at the end, the completed concept is presented, demoed, and reviewed to determine if it's ready for build or if it needs additional refinement. Now, when the volume of concepts ready for build is high, or if you're limited in your build team availability, then you need to prioritize the concepts to choose what to build first. Using a radar chart or a spider chart is effective here. It allows the comparison of multiple concepts in the same frame and to visualize quickly the differences between them for simplifying the decision-making. The result is to choose one or a subset of candidates based on merit. It's critical to involve multiple stakeholders in this exercise and compile results by average to ensure the diversity in judgment and a reduction of any bias that may exist. Choosing the right axis here, again, is important. 4 to 5 is a good number, but choose what works for your organization. For Hike 2, we would focus on these 5. Feasible. Is this technically feasible? And is the investment feasible? Is it acceptable? Do customers have the problem that is solved by this concept? And does the solution or will the solution fit with their organizational goals? Is it valuable? How much value will the concept provide to customers? Is it scalable? Can it apply to many customers? Is it cross-industry? Is it commercializable? Does this have a revenue model? Is this something customers would pay for? Can it be self-sustaining? No matter what concepts chosen at this point should be celebrated. We've gone from idea to build. We've taken this abstract idea, refined it into something more tangible with lots of potential, proven its value and technical viability, and shown its alignment with organizational strategy and goals. Now we begin the journey that takes the concept from build to value. The build stage runs much like an individual project. We could spend lots of time talking about the nuances of methodologies for executing projects, but at a high level, my recommendation is to focus on a pragmatic approach that works for your team and utilizes agile and iterative concepts. This would involve a sprint cadence with measurable, deliverable, and consistent small improvements toward the MVP solution. The people participating here are the product owner, subject matter experts, a project manager, business analyst, architect, developer, quality assurance. In addition, this would be the entry point for sales and marketing to begin to organize the beta and release activities to come. And the innovation program manager would provide oversight over all the build efforts. You can execute the build using a dedicated team structure, or depending on your size, your budget, or your investment, you could use the structure of an innovation lab, like what we do at Hike 2, or an event like a hackathon. No matter what, it's critical that leadership has visibility into the progress of the build and the trajectory toward MVP, especially as it relates to the features themselves and the burn of budget. A project management software tool can be really helpful here. Now, if your idea is a software based in its solution, then implementing a DevOps automation process for continuous integration and continuous delivery will greatly aid in delivering value quickly. In addition, tools and frameworks that provide automated testing will improve efficiency and establish trust in regression testing and bug fixes, and provide a return on investment later in the support stage of the product lifecycle. The beta stage is your feedback loop. It's an exciting activity. It involves testing by real customer users. Beta, however, does not mean that build is over. These stages blend. Build is still occurring, but it is about what is being built during the beta stage that provides this distinction. By this point, most of the MVP features should be functional. The additional build tasks completed during this phase are mostly reactive. They are the results of the feedback from the participants in the beta. They evolve into enhancements, bug fixes, or new critical features that weren't identified prior to. In this stage, you want to capture detailed feedback and measure customer value, customer satisfaction, and the quality of the solution. You want to take the feedback to understand gaps to be put into the backlog and prioritized. The product owner, sales and marketing, and architect and developer leads are all critical roles for a successful beta. It's important to keep in mind that beta is much more than just testing and getting feedback on a product. It's an opportunity to interact and expand the knowledge you have of your customers and solidify the relationship. I'd recommend thorough planning and personalization of the beta experience to each participant wherever possible. Release. Release is a time to celebrate, and it's the closing stage of the innovation process. It involves a final handoff to sales and marketing for launch and a transfer to your organization's product management process. It's also an opportunity to market this new product or capability internally using demos or lunch and learns. Overall, just make sure you include everyone. So today we've covered the innovation process from idea to build and from build to value. Following a process like this can ensure consistency in your innovation program. We dove deeper into each stage to discuss characteristics and options to manage scale. You may have heard the concept of the product is never done. I feel the intention behind that statement also applies here, where the process is never done. Always be looking for ways to refine and improve your process. And you must be relentless about it. It's very easy to get complacent, especially with some success. Measure the characteristics that are important so that you have quantitative results to indicate your levels of success. Measure your value and compare it back to your assessed value scores from the stage gates. And remember that the process by itself is not a silver bullet for innovation success. Other factors not covered here, like culture, organizational strategy, and the structure of your organization, are closely linked and combine to drive the overall success of your innovation program.